Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Holland, do you know the group called the Wilderness Society?
I've heard of it, yes.
And what, to your knowledge, what is this group?
It sounds like the name is explanatory.
Well, let me help you a little bit. It's a left-wing environmentalist pressure group. Do you know who funds them?
I do not.
Well, I can help you with that, too. It's funded in large part by a foreign billionaire, Hans-Georg Weiss, who has routed his money through all manner of dark money groups, including the Arabella Network. Hans-Georg Weiss was investigated by the FEC for illegal campaign contributions because he's not a United States citizen. He sits on the governing council of this dark money environmentalist group. Has anybody in leadership at your department met with them, the Wilderness Society?
Senator, I do not know this individual, and
Has anybody in leadership at your department met with the Wilderness Society?
Well, I'm sure we've met with a lot of groups and organizations in the work that we do, and we're discussing the environment.
So does that mean you don't know, or you're not going to answer my question?
I don't have a full list of everyone that everyone has met with. But
well, I can help you with that as well. The answer is yes. Your leadership has met with the Wilderness Society. They met with the Wilderness Society when that group was a plaintiff suing the Department of the Interior with an adverse lawsuit against you, and they met with them off the books. I've got the emails. In July of 2021, after you had come to office, members of the Wilderness Society, when they're suing the department, write to your top deputy and ask for a meeting to keep it off of his calendar. Here it is, July 14th, 2021. Can we set up a meeting with these folks? July 19th, 2021, they propose how they might calibrate this so it doesn't look like they're violating any of the rules of the court. And remarkably, it stays completely off of everybody's calendars. We only know about it because FOIA requests were filed. And then after they have these off-the-books meetings, their request is to cancel the mineral leasing rights in Minnesota in the Superior National Forest. This is a critical minerals mine. The society wants the mine shut down. After they meet off the books with your leadership, you do it. A few months later, you do it. You cancel the leases, and then you withdraw 225,000 acres of critical mining from production and leasing shortly after that. Is it common practice at your department to meet with dark money groups off the books and conceal it from the public?
Senator, thank you for the question. And of course, I can't answer to, if you're referring to our former deputy secretary, he's no longer at the department.
Who worked for you?
He worked for the president. He was appointed by the president.
He's your deputy secretary. Are you the secretary of the Department of Interior? I thought that's why you were here. Are you the secretary? Don't look at her, look at me.
Yes.
Are you the secretary?
I am.
Do these people who are sitting here today answering most of your questions, do they work for you?
They work.
Do they report for you? You're not in charge?
They work with me.
They work with you, so you're not in charge of the department. Oh my gosh, I thought you were in charge. I thought that's why you were here.
We work as a team.
Oh, okay, so who's in charge then?
I provide the vision, I provide the overall direction, and
but you're not in charge.
Our mission.
Do you take responsibility for what happens at the Department of the Interior?
I take responsibility.
Do you take full responsibility for what happens at the Department of the Interior? Good. Then why are your leadership meeting with dark money groups and concealing it from the public? Why are they doing it off the books? How many times has this happened?
Senator, this is the first I'm hearing of this. My deputy secretary is no longer there. And I can't answer to what he did when he was there.
What did they get out of it, do you suppose? What do you suppose Hans-Georg Weiss got out of you canceling the leases after they asked you to?
I don't know who.
In an off-the-books reading.
I don't know who this individual.
Oh, sure. I mean, you don't know. You're not in charge. You're not responsible. We have a corruption problem in this government, Madam Secretary, and frankly, we have a corruption problem in your department.
We don't.
We've got we certainly do. We have foreign billionaires who are funding dark money groups coming to meet with your leadership, concealing it from the public while they are filing lawsuits adverse to the department. Doing it without the court's knowledge, doing it, you say, without your knowledge, and then getting exactly what they want. Now, I don't know how much money he made off of it. I'm sure it was a lot. I know how he made his money. He made his money by poisoning people. Hans-Georg Weiss, here's what his company did. In 2009, Synthes USA, with Weiss at its head, was charged by Philadelphia's U.S. attorney with running an illegal clinical trial on humans. They injected them with a cement that turns to bone inside the human skeleton. That's the guy who's funding this group, who's pressuring your department, and you're meeting with them off the books and giving them exactly what they want.
I did not meet with him. You're implying that I met with him.
I'm just trying to figure out who's in charge of the Interior Department. You've said it isn't you. It sounds to me like it's the billionaires. It sounds to me like it's the dark money billionaires who are calling the shots at the Department of the Interior. And all I have to say to you, Madam Secretary, is that is a travesty. It is a travesty. The American people should be in charge, not the foreign billionaires. And the fact that you've let them run rampant is outrageous. It's outrageous. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, I think you know that at these hearings, I usually take my time to ask questions. But this morning, I'm probably going to be talking more than asking questions because, quite honestly, I've got a lot to say. And I think you know it's not good feelings. Right now, the state of Alaska is looking at what is coming out of the Department of Interior, and they're not seeing a single thing that Alaskans are asking of Interior that is actually advancing. It seems like every single decision coming out of the department is working against Alaskans. You know, it was a pretty tough week, just a couple weeks ago now. In one day, the department closes off 13 million acres of our petroleum reserve. In the same day, you rejected the Ambler Access Project. And the heartburn here, I mean, it's not more than heartburn. The danger here is this is a project that is literally guaranteed by federal law. And you basically have rejected that and closed that off. You released a major land plan where it took Interior 10 full years to fail to meet the direction of a law that I wrote 20 years ago. It was to lift the PLO, public land orders in Alaska. But it took no time at all to close off millions more acres in the state of Alaska. And again, the kicker on all of this is you did it all on the same day, one day. We have actually come to dread Fridays in Alaska because that's when we see the stuff coming out of Washington, D.C. that is burying Alaska and our economy. These decisions are now piled on top of dozens of others, from your conservation rule to the cancellation of the leases in the 1002 area to the looming kneecapping of the oil and gas program in the area that you're mandated to carry out. You know, when there's a lot of history in Alaska, you know much of it. But when signing ANILCA, President Carter promised the deal was 100% of Alaska's offshore and 95% of our onshore would be open to responsible development. President Biden voted for that law. He voted for ANILCA, but his administration, led by your department, has broken its promises to Alaskans again and again and again. And we've kept our side of the bargain here. We've been working to do this, just that. Our environmental record is second to none. We'll put it up against anyone out there. But now it's effectively being held against us because Interior's decisions are punishing us for decades of responsible development. And ironically, it undermines the president's own policies. He's talking about all that he wants to do to advance the renewables and EVs. Well, they all require critical minerals. Well, where are we going to get the critical minerals? We have opportunities in Alaska, and a road to those minerals could have been, hopefully one day will be, a way that we're accessing that. But in addition to all of this, you're setting a precedent for future administrations to ignore the law. We pass things in Congress, we put the laws in place, and the administration does whatever they please. And it's doing nothing to protect the environment because we know that our projects are going to have small footprints. We put in place the strongest safeguards in the world here. You've heard it before, but the headline is true. This administration is sanctioning Alaska. We're sanctioning Alaska while we're boosting foreign resources. And you don't pay attention. You overlook the pollution, the human rights abuses, the regimes that it enables from Russia and Iran. And in the meantime, you've got a president that seems to think that Willow is enough to sustain an entire state. The administration here has effectively reduced Alaska to nothing more than a debit card to pay off national environmental groups in an election year. And I know that that's tough. I know that that's tough, but we can't look at it any other way. There is no valid reason. There is no good excuse for Interior's decisions. The department needs to follow the law. They need to follow the law. They need to consult with all Alaska Natives, and frankly, I think clean house at the BLM. I want you to give this some thought, because we're going to have an opportunity next week at Interior Appropriations for me to ask more questions, But I want you to think about this. What justifies this? What justifies this singling out of one state alone, to treat Alaska in this way and in this manner, where you are effectively not only locking up the resources, you are going against our statehood compact, you're going against the laws that we have passed, and against policies that seemingly, as an administration, you should support. It seems like we're the giving tree, with more and more being taken from us every year, but we don't know that there is that much more to give. So again, I'll look forward to the opportunity in the Interior Committee or the subcommittee to ask these questions. You probably won't be looking forward to it as much as I will, but I think Alaskans deserve some answers.
Senator